Good morning, good evening, good lunchtime, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome to day 6 of the 7-day challenge with Pat Flynn and Ecamm, and also a look behind the scenes at my Talk IT show. And the idea is to cover two bases really for those of you who want to know a little bit about Ecamm and what I'm doing with Ecamm and going live. Then this is part of my challenge. I don't go live every day, but I am this week so far, and only one more to go. So that's one part of it. The other part is to show my guests and audience what things are going to look like on my new show, and perhaps give my guests a couple of tips in terms of how they might want to appear on screen. So we've covered things like cameras and microphones, and Neil Faramon joined me yesterday for a bit of a session on how to use something called Camo to improve your cheap little webcams. So today what I thought I would do is talk about green screen. Now let's be very clear, I am not talking about the background replacement that Zoom uses, the sort of AI generated stuff where your head disappears and then your arms disappear and then a bit of the chair behind you jumps into the side of your head and it just looks awful. So we will not be having any of that on my show. However, you could use real green screen. So what do I mean by real green screen? What I'm talking about really is a physical green screen directly behind you. So something like this. Yes, folks, I'm on green screen today. That is not my office behind me. That is a recording of my office, which I did without me on the screen, and then I dropped it in behind me. Now that means I can go anywhere in the world, pop up a green screen, and it looks like I'm in my office for consistency purposes. And this is me on my ZV-E10 camera, which we've talked about all week. But here I am, shifted slightly, just using the cheap £70 Obsbot camera. So even that looks fine with green screen, and within Ecamm that's where the green screen functionality allows me to change my fade levels. So if I come back down and drop my fade levels out, I'm starting to look a bit like the sort of Zoom background fill thing. If I go to the other end of the fade levels, I disappear completely, but I can tweak them around and move things and a few other settings as well till I get to where I want to be on that green screen setting. This allows me to not only take my own green screen and jump around the world with it, but also visit other people's offices too. So just recently I was on a show for Alec Johnson, his digital stage show. So just for a bit of fun, I thought I would steal Alec's background office and put me into it. Elephant in the room. Don't actually go and steal somebody else's office, but if you really wanted to, you could. It might be a better option to go create your own version of an office, something like this. So here I am in a live studio, and I just created this using AI on a little loop, and then cracked a few videos together and even added somebody in the background behind me, and a couple of other things going on too, including, I think, a little bit of a problem with a monitor that's about to occur. Oops, that's bad. So what do things actually look like behind me? So the videos keep going on a bit of a loop. It's a 30-second loop, so you'll see the same things happening again. But let's have a look at this camera behind me. Move to preset 3, and the camera has just rolled around behind me, and that is what is behind me, a green screen. As simple as that. So people will tell you need millions of lights for green screens and things like that. Simply not true. This is what I've got set up. So at the moment, all I've got is my standard lighting, my hair light, which is the one that sits above me, my key light, which sits in front of me slightly, and the only one that I have added on for green screen purposes is the one behind me here, which is kind of an LED inspection panel light. So it's the sort of thing you use for crawling underneath cars and things like that. But it just sits directly behind me, and the trick is to light your green screen evenly. So that's what you want to do. This light here, which is sitting in front of me, in fact I've got another one here just to give me a bit of depth of field on either side of my face, or rather a bit of contrast on either side of my face. But these are pointing downwards and at me. So effectively, if I took the trajectory of the light, it would come down here onto the ground. And in fact, the one from that side is very low, but it would come down to the ground here. So what you don't want to do is have a bright light in front of you, just here, trying to shine through you and onto the green screen, because that's going to create shadows on the green screen. Green screen does not like shadows. You don't want shadows. You want an evenly lit, bright green screen. So this light is doing it for me. If I put a whole bunch of lights in front of me, which is what people often tell you need to do, then all you're going to do is every light you add, you will create more shadows. So point these lights down. This one here is pointing at the back of my chair. We call it a hair light, but it really is separating me from the background. So that's what it's doing. But I have that one there anyway. So I have these lights anyway, and it's only this one that I've added in for the green screen. And literally, the distance from the back of my chair to the green screen is a couple of feet, no more than that. And you're not seeing big green screen colour around me or anything like that, because I can tweak it about in Ecamm. So green screen is quite definitely an option that you can use. I'm on what we call transparent background at the moment. If I turn the transparent background on, it's going to bring on a fake background, which Ecamm have got a number of different ones you can choose between, but I don't really like them very much. It doesn't give me the opportunity to create something and then put some movement in the background, or things like little tricks like that, because those are the things that sell the idea. If you've just got a plain background, it's going to look a bit fake. I mean, that's not terrible, but I still don't like it very much. I would rather have a little bit of movement in the background, a little bit of blur in the background, and that really sells the idea. You can also take a couple of other lessons in here as well. You could add in additional bits of lighting if you wanted to put bits of light in different locations. So let me grab this one. If I was in a room with a flickering fire, I might add in a light to one side of me, just to give a flickering flame effect or something like that. But wherever the light is potentially coming from in your background, you may want to add a little bit of extra light in. Not much, but just a little bit. So if there's light coming in from a window in the background, then make it look like there's light coming in from a window in the background. So something like a tiny little light like that can be very useful to just pop into the background somewhere in order to light up your green screen a little bit more. But I think you'll agree, if I just come on and hadn't told you, you definitely wouldn't know that I was on green screen. So it is an option, but it's a physical green screen. Do not use those horrible zoom type effects, because the processors are just not up to cutting you out quickly enough and effectively enough. So they try hard. If you sat rock solid still, it might be something you could get away with, but you don't sit still. You move your head a bit, your ears are going to disappear and stuff like that. So that's my lesson in green screen. Don't be afraid of green screen. Maybe give it a go. Okay, cheerio from Edinburgh. Bye for now.